Good morning, zookeepers, and welcome back to another episode of the Feenstra Zoo. Before we jump into today's fun, just a bit of housekeeping as normal. Please give this season's sponsor a chance. BetterHelp Online Therapy is an amazing way to give yourself one more person fighting for you in your corner, and there is so many positive things that go along with that. There will be more on them later. Also, if you're looking for a new podcast, head on over to the Podbelly Network. They have tons of shows that you might not find anywhere else, plus a bunch of other great stuff as well, including tips and tricks to start your own podcast if you want. But enough of the boring stuff for now. I just have one question for you. What brought you joy this week? For me, at the time of writing this, I was able to attend 2 hockey games this week. One as a date night with Shalane and I, and the other we were able to take my mom and my stepdad and our girls and extras, and the 8 of us, we went out and were able to watch a Sunday afternoon hockey game, both of which absolutely fantastic. Now, at the time of recording this podcast, because it's not back-to-back, what brought me joy this week was I was able to spend the weekend with Kevin. He flew out from Alberta. You've heard all about Kevin before. It was amazing. We went axe throwing, spent some time at the beach, just a lot of downtime. Both of these things brought me so much joy this week. Or past 2 weeks, I guess. The reason that I'm asking you this question, though, is so that you shift your focus from the doom and gloom or the media and internet or the mundane monotony of your everyday life. And we all get stuck in these ruts. We all get stuck in this, I'm just busy with work and life and whatever, and we don't stop to smell the roses. So I asked you this question to shift your focus onto what brought you joy this week. You owe yourself the joy and happiness and focusing on the good things in your life. You owe it to yourself to just focus on that. Shalane and I, we have this fantastic weekly check-in called The Marriage Journal. It's a book from Jeremy and Audrey Roloff. It's comprised of one short, one-page focus story or Bible study moment of the week. And then we dig into our weekly schedule for the week ahead, and then it's 6 to 8 questions depending on the week. The first of which, every time, is what brought you joy this week? And I find it funny just how frequently the answer to that question is either doing something with Shalane or doing something with the girls, or all of them. And when reflecting on that question again and again and again, every week, it allows you to find what the real important things are in your life. It allows you to see these trends and see the highlights of every week. Because what brought you joy? That needs to be a priority in your life. And I know that this has been, honestly, an unintentional theme of this whole season, but it's something that's become very important in my life in general. It's to find that joy, that purpose, that fulfillment in my life. It's shifting my focus onto these things. Like I said, it's been kind of unintentional, but it has been a theme of this season that almost every episode I've made at least a comment on. Shift your focus. Shift from that mundane, the dreary day in, day out, 9 to 5 work schedule. Stop focusing on that, because for most of us, that's not what brings us joy. And shift your focus onto what truly matters. We have to come back to saying, what you give your attention to, this is who you'll become. Now, I wholeheartedly believe this, and I'm even starting to instill this in my girls in a practical sense. I do this by asking them every single day when I get home from work, and then again right before bed. I ask them to tell me what the best part of their day has been, or 3 things that were fun and 3 things that brought them joy in this day. In doing this, I'm hoping to help them reflect on their day and take the good and the bad of the day, but at the end of the day, just focus on the good and the fun. As they get older and can grasp this concept a little bit more fully, my hope is to be able to guide them and have them asking the same questions as, what was the best part of your day? What brings you joy? In the end, your and my life are no more than the sum of what we gave our attention to. If we focus on pain and tragedy and loss, what we don't have in our lives, we're going to end up depressed, lonely, anxiety-riddled, and empty. And if that's what you're focusing on, that's not a life worth living. That is tough. That is painful. If we focus on the joy and the joyful things and the good days and the things we do have, although not a cure-all, we're still going to have bad days. But this helps make them fewer and farther between, and it also helps program your mind to recognize the good things, and it makes it easier to dwell on them, which makes the hardships less. This is going to bring you to that point of contentment. It's going to bring you to that point of, relative happiness through the days. And let's be real here, who doesn't want more good days? I mean, it's practically science. We want good things, right? Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy service, 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just have to answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then, you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for you for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you can get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you. More scheduling, more flexibility, and at more affordable price. And right now, you can get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp by visiting betterhelp.com/thefiendstrezoo. That's betterhelp.com/thefiendstrezoo. And guys, I really just want to encourage you to try therapy if you never have before, because I can speak from personal experience that finding someone you can talk open and freely with no judgment coming back at you, someone who literally is there just to help you sort out whatever it is that's weighing on you. It's an incalculable value to yourself. It's literally saved my life. So please do yourself a favor and give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. So please visit betterhelp.com/thefiendstrezoo. That's betterhelp.com/thefiendstrezoo. and you can receive 10% off your first month of therapy. Let's talk about bad days for a minute, because I've had some, and I'm willing to bet you have too. Like I said before the ad roll, refocusing your mind won't cure you of your bad days or bad moods. Unfortunately, they are inevitable. But learning to focus your emotions can help you control the responses to those negative things that are coming your way. Picture this. You're at work, and a coworker comes and yells at you for something you didn't do. Pretty realistic scenario, at least in my life. How do you respond? Do you yell back? Do you get super defensive? Do you just let them yell and then it rolls off your back? Does this ruin your whole day, or can you just let it be a bad 5 minutes? Now, I'd love to tell you that I've mastered this skill. Unfortunately, I'm far from it. I mean, sure, I've got thick skin and not much gets to me. But even though it doesn't really get to me when I'm yelled at or whatever, it doesn't mean that I always respond kindly or properly. I mean, the fact of the matter is, in your life, you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. You're going to have peaks and troughs. And it's easy to focus on the good when you're flying high and enjoying life. You know, you just get off a weekend hanging out with your best friend and his girlfriend and you did all sorts of fun stuff. It's really easy to sit here and say, just focus on the good things, the bad don't matter. But it's not so easy when you're on the 5th straight week of my life sucks and I haven't slept and I lost my job. I mean, what do you focus on then? Can you even say thank you at the end of your day then? For me, it's usually, hopefully I learned something today. Or, I'm thankful that I have someone to talk to. I know I had the ad spot already, but that could be BetterHelp if you need it. Someone who is in your corner, willing to fight with you and help you figure your emotions out. Now, I'm lucky. I have an amazing wife. I've got parents that I can call on. I've got in-laws that I can call on. I'm very blessed, and I recognize that, and I'm so thankful for that. But I also recognize that not everyone has that. Not everyone has someone waiting for them at home who's willing to go to battle with them. That could be BetterHelp if you need them. Or that could be me if you need it. I don't have a huge audience. Most of you I know by name. And I'm willing to be that phone call. Now, if you're truly in crisis and you're thinking some real intrusive thoughts of self-harm or something like that, I mean, absolutely call me. But there are better phone numbers for that as well. There's help phones, there's hotlines for everything from suicide to emergency therapy and that kind of stuff. Absolutely seek those out. But what I'm here to say today, right now, is that starting today, learn to say thank you for one thing every day. If you're not like myself, if you're not of a religious bend, you know, I get to pray and I thank God that He's given me so much. Once a week, I get to share with Shalane. Well, we schedule at least once a week. I get to do it every day, but once a week we sit down and we go through what made us happy this week. if you start this habit, if you're by yourself or whatever, start this habit of at least once a week, schedule time to reflect on what was good. What brought you even reasonable happiness this week? It will start to form this thought process in your brain that you start looking for these things then. Because at that Sunday morning when you're drinking your first cup of coffee, you can sit there and be like, okay, the past 7 days. I had a really good day at work on Thursday. I had a great weekend. That sunrise yesterday was awesome, or sunset if you don't get up early like me. Whatever it is, if you start focusing on that through the week, you're going to start looking for these things. Now, I'm not saying we're trying to eliminate sadness from your life, because that can be a good thing. You can learn things. God will give you things to learn through these times. He will help form and shape you and give you incalculable life lessons through these trough periods. And you will be given opportunities to apply these life lessons. I mean, it's really fun to look at extremes, especially through the Bible. So, if you don't know, there was this guy named Job. He was one of God's chosen people. And he had a few bad days. Years. Basically, he had everything stripped from him. He was rather well off. He had servants and flocks and real well-to-do guy. But he had it all stripped from him. His wealth, his wife, his kids, you name it, it was taken away from this guy. While this was all going down, his family was telling him to just curse God and die because it's not worth living. And through all this, the overarching theme is that Job was, one, faithful, but two, and I think that the thing that I want to focus on more here is that he was humbled. Instead of going, woe is me, he's like, no, there's got to be a better plan. Someone has to have a better plan. He lost everything, and I cannot imagine having that happen. Having my wife and my kids taken from me, killed in whatever accident, having my home crumble around me. Literally, Job had his house fall down. He had everything stripped from him. And he's like, no, thank God for giving me breath today. God's got to have a better plan. That is unfathomable faith for me. And I'm so impressed by it, and through, the past 31 years, and hopefully I get a bunch more, I want to learn. That's where we're going. It's just one day at a time, being faithful to God. One day at a time, waking up and going, thank God for the breath in my lungs. And everything else is a blessing. Including that, it's all just a blessing. And that's how we have to start reshaping our thought patterns. See, Shalane and I, we've been taking steps forward and taking steps to think like this. But we've got this daily struggle right now that is pushing back at us going, I mean, we're in our early 30s, and we both thought that we'd be much further ahead in our lives. We don't own our home. We don't have much in the way of worldly possessions. I don't have some super cool job that I get to brag about. I mean, besides podcasting, but I thought 10 years ago, I thought I'd be so much further ahead. And it weighs on both Shalane and I that we don't have these things. We don't have that checklist that we thought we would have accomplished by our 30s. And it seems silly to to verbalize it and talk about it like this, because I'm basically preaching on being thankful for the things you have and not focusing on the things you don't. But this is where we're at right now. This is the day-to-day struggle. This is why I made this podcast, is so we can do life together. So I want to be real with you. This is where I'm struggling, is this fulfillment in life. And that's why I'm talking about it, because this is what my life is going through right now. It's waking up every day right now and not looking at if I just had this. If I just woke up in a house that I owned. If I just had that really shiny car that I think is super cool, or the new motorbike, or whatever. If I just had XYZ, my life would be happier, or whatever messed up story that this world is putting on my shoulders. If I just had this thing, I'd be happy. It's just not true. You talk to the wealthiest people in the world. I mean, they get interviewed all the time because they have money and people want that. And people are just like, how much is enough? There was an interview with Rockefeller way back in the day, and he was asked how much money is enough money. Now, this dude was the wealthiest everything at the time, and his answer was astonishing. It's just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. This dude could literally buy countries, entire countries. And how much is enough? Just a little more. Because if you chase money, if you chase things, if you chase worldly possessions, you will never be satisfied. You will never be fulfilled. You will never have enough. But if I get to wake up tomorrow and I thank God that my wife is beside me and my kids are happy and healthy, I have breath in my lungs and food on my table, that's enough. Thank God for that blessing. That's what we're chasing today. That's where my life's at today. I think that's where I'm going to leave today's episode. And guys, I hope that you enjoyed this small peek into my life, into where I'm at. That's what I want. I want this to be like we're sitting down at my table and having coffee together. I want this to be a conversation. So please seek me out on social media, The Feenstra Zoo, on just about every platform. Send me a message, say hi. Say I listened to it, it's cool. Or I didn't like it, or whatever. But I want this to be a conversation. And I've got to say it again, while you're online, wherever you're listening to this, give it a rate and a review. 5 stars is cool, but again, I just want you to be honest. What do you think of it? Let me know. Don't forget, this season's sponsor is BetterHelp. I know you've heard it a few times now this episode, but they're helping out the show. It'd be awesome if you click the link down below. Go check out what they're all about. They can help you if you need it. Also, the Podbelly Network, tons of great shows, tons of great tips and tricks as to how to get your own show going if you're of that bend. And if you wish to support the show directly, buymeacoffee.com/thefeensтерzoo. All of that goes 100% back into the show. I'm hoping to get some more sponsors, get some more advertising going so we can make the show better and bigger, which would be super cool. So if you want, it's a one-time donation there, buymeacoffee.com. That would be amazing. But for this week, my name's Spencer. You've been awesome. Thanks for hanging out, and God bless.